Welcome to Get a Life podcast with Kristen
and Steve.
Together, we are certified life and business coaches and consultants. Join us as we give you practical steps to realistic subjects based on our experiences that are attainable and you can apply to your life today to start seeing results.
We will talk about subjects such as time management, organizing your day, your purpose, getting beyond your past, and many other topics.
We want to help you take the next step. We will use our experiences and life journey to help you shorten yours. So grab a cup of coffee, put your earbuds in at your desk, or go for a run, and let's get a life together. Welcome to Get a Life podcast and YouTube channel. I'm Kristen.
I'm Steve.
And today we're going to talk about, are you operating outside of your purpose? Now you might not even know what that means, so today we're going to help explain to you what that might mean.
2020, New York Times did a study, and they asked people if they knew if they were operating outside of their purpose. Only 25% of people knew what their purpose was in life. And I'm a definition guy, so I like to look up information and definitions. And one definition of purpose is the reason why something exists. So maybe a better question to ask people is, do you know why you exist? Sometimes asking them what their purpose is really broad to them.
Sometimes that can be confusing.
It's the same question, but it's a little different. Do you know why you exist?
Right. So, and then another good question is, how do I know I'm not operating in my purpose?
Correct. That's actually probably a better question to ask. You may ask somebody, what's your purpose? And they sit there and go, I don't know. Right. But if you ask them, well, how do you know you're not operating in your purpose? And they probably can start listing off reasons why they know they're not operating in their purpose.
Right. We saw a good quote from Steve Harvey. Like, what did he say? Do you remember?
Yes, he said, your alarm clock goes off in the morning and you dread getting out of bed and going to work. That is one sign that the job you're doing is not your purpose. It
really kind of reminds me of our son-in-law. He has worked in retail since we've known him, since he's been dating our daughter. And, he's married now. But when they were dating, he was working retail, customer service. Like, not to be rude, but I think the poor little guy was miserable in his job. So then they saw that there was an opening at the school for ed techs. And he's like, you know what, why not? Get out of retail, maybe try something different. And so, he had worked there for a good probably 6-8 months or whatever. Yeah. And we're like, what do you think of the job, Josiah? Do you like it? What do you think of it? And he's like, you know what? It feels like I'm not even going to work. It doesn't even feel like a job. And we're like, you are now operating in your purpose. I think he's just a young guy, so it's hard for us sometimes to always know what we're doing or where we're going. So you have to take lots of jobs to figure out what is it that I'm good at. And he found out he's really good at working with kids. So guess what? He's going to college to be a special ed school teacher. So he is going to start operating in his purpose. So he knew he wasn't operating in his purpose prior to that.
Right.
Because he was miserable and he did not want to get up when the alarm clock went off. He just drug himself to work and drug himself back home. But now he's excited every morning to go to work.
It took him a while to figure that out. And sometimes it takes a while to figure out what your purpose is. What I've learned over time is your job trains you for your ultimate purpose. You learn things in different jobs. Jobs sometimes tell you, sometimes the only thing a job might tell you is, this is not my purpose right here because I hate it. Yeah. But you might find a job where you work in it for a while and you get training in certain things and it leads to your purpose. And then maybe you become unsettled in that job, and that means it's time to move on to the next job, which then leads you even closer to your purpose. So, be watchful of those things. If we go back to not wanting to get up to go to work in the morning, it's not always because you have horrible coworkers and a horrible employer. Sure. That might be it.
Yeah, that could be it.
But it could be, this isn't my purpose.
Right.
So don't always just point at, I just have horrible coworkers or the place I work is horrible. That may be true. Yeah. But it could be, you're seeing it that way because it's just not who you're meant to be. That job isn't what you're meant to do.
And so as we're talking, I'm kind of thinking too, sometimes we have to do the job because we have bills to pay, but say, what can I learn in this job? So when I get a new job, I can work towards something good there
Right.
towards, like, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, what kind of skills?
Take every job to be like a training ground,
Right.
schooling of some sort.
Right.
Learn something.
I didn't learn, we do life and business coaching. I didn't learn that in my first job. I had jobs that led me up to the job I have now, which is a leadership type job. But I have learned so many skills in this job that I can now use to coach others through that job. So I have always looked at, what am I doing for my everyday work that is pointing to my purpose? What am I learning? What skills am I getting out of that?
Right.
Another thing, some people, they love their job, but they hate to go home. Now, there may be other reasons
there's a lot of reasons
why you hate to go home. There
Right.
may be some things going on in your home, and that's a whole other subject we're not going to get into. But if you love your family, you love your house, but you feel fulfilled at work, but you don't feel fulfilled at home, maybe you really, truly aren't operating in your purpose. Because when you are operating in your purpose, you should feel fulfilled at work, at home, at the grocery store, on vacation. You should always feel a sense of fulfillment when you know and are operating in your purpose. So look at that too. How do I feel regardless of where I'm at? Do I have a sense of fulfillment at home, at work, at the grocery store? What do I feel like? So some quick things to think about if you're not operating in your purpose. Now, in one podcast show, we can't cover everything about your purpose. We can't help you figure everything out, but we can give you a few tools.
Yeah.
So one thing that we've always used and others have used with us as we try to discover our purpose is, what in your circle angers you? What in the things that you are involved in life, what drives you crazy? What problem is there in the world and society around you that you want to fix? What grinds your gears?
Yep. Are you asking me mine?
Yes.
I think there's a lot of things that grind my gears, but I think it's people not operating in their purpose. Like you can see them. It's easier when people are on the outside to see you and your personality, but when you see them, you're like, oh, I know what their purpose should be, or I know what direction they should go, and they're kind of stuck. So obviously that's why we're doing the life coaching.
Right. That's what led to this, because we've been that way.
Oh, yes. My gosh.
And this happens a lot with your purpose too, is we are doing this because that's what grinds our gears, is people not living in their purpose because we've been there. Not living in our purpose.
And I think there's a lot of people don't even realize that they have a purpose. Right. They're just going through life.
They go through life miserable.
Right, and they don't even know why.
They don't realize that them being miserable is because they're not in their purpose.
Yeah.
There's things that aren't clicking right in their life. One question that we were asked, we have strategic advisors that we sit with.
Correct.
That mentor us.
Right.
Just because you're a life coach or a business coach doesn't mean you don't need you should always have somebody coaching you, mentoring you.
Yeah.
So we have ones that we sit with, and one question they asked us a while ago is, if you had all the money in the world, if resources were not an issue, you had all the money, all the time,
all the education,
everything, nothing holding you back, what would you be doing?
So take a minute and really think about that, or write it down like throughout the week, and just write that down and say, what would I do if I had all the money, all the education, all the time,
everything,
all the energy, even energy, because we all need energy, right?
Right.
So think about that throughout the week. I think that's a really good point.
Yeah, and begin to write some things down, and no matter how crazy it sounds, begin to write things down, and then maybe tie in some skills and some talents and some resources that you do already have that you can begin to tap into that starts leading you towards your purpose.
Because the things that you love is towards some of your purpose. It helps you towards your purpose. What are things that become easy for you that is not necessarily easy for other people?
Correct.
Right?
Correct. Because really, when it comes to your purpose, it comes down to everybody has talents, gifts, but everybody has something that they're good at.
Yes.
That somebody else isn't as good at it.
Right. Yep.
And that leads to opportunities, that leads to making money, that leads to a lot of open doors and things that you don't even realize, but you've got to start evaluating, number one, how do I know that I'm not operating in my purpose? Do any of these things, do I hate getting up in the morning? Do I feel fulfilled at work or at home? And I hate going to my job or I hate coming home.
There's a lot of reasons.
There's a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
A lot of reasons. But
we're going to be in general here.
These are general things to get your wheels turning. Start thinking about these things so you can evaluate what's going on. Where am I at?
Right.
And it doesn't matter how foolish it sounds.
Right.
So, maybe you need to get yourself a life coach, a strategic advisor, a mentor, someone to sit with that can help you
kind of sort it out.
Through those things and sort those things out. Networking. That's big in finding and fulfilling your purpose, connecting with people. However you do that, in the workplace, maybe you're part of a church or a social club or something like that. Begin to network with people that are like you. Take them out to lunch, get together in your house with them, and you'll be surprised how that opens doors. And
just talking to somebody else, just talking it out. Correct. Sometimes you're just all stuck in your head, but we heard another guy in one of our little small groups talk about everybody has a piece of a puzzle to somebody else's puzzle. Mm-hmm. We can't do this all on our own. Now, believe me, we've tried.
Right.
We've tried. It doesn't work.
Right.
So trying to do it all on your own, it doesn't work. You need other people to speak into your life. You might not know your purpose, but I bet you if you talk to 3 or 4 people that know you, they might be like, well, duh, you are great at this, this, and this. And you're like, really? Yes.
And that's very typical. Most of the time, people other than you can see your purpose.
It's people outside.
And what you're supposed to be doing quicker than you can, because we're kind of critical of ourselves, and we also have blind spots in ourselves that we don't see. But other people from the outside looking in can see things sometimes. Be open to that. Don't just ask anybody. Find people that you're safe with, that have your best interests in mind, that are really concerned about you and your success, and let them begin to speak into you some things that, hey, Kristen, this is what I see with you. Yeah. And to the point, you have to have relationships, and not to get off track. But
I know, we will.
You have to have relationships in life that you are so close to them, you're okay with them pointing out your blind spots, and you don't get offended by that. Or even if you do, you're okay with it.
So we, as a family, we had a fire outside, and so we're all sitting.
Campfire.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant to say. Campfire. And our family was sitting around the fire, so we decided we'd all start telling each other what their blind spots were. Well, some of us got a little offended. But it's true. It's good for all of us to sometimes see how other people see us.
Right.
So, and once they point it out, it makes you mad or you get offended, but at the end of the day, you're like, you know what? They're probably right.
Right. And that's a big subject that we'll talk about at some point in another episode.
Yeah.
But that helps point to some things too.
Yeah.
And the biggest key, as we kind of wrap this up, the biggest key to your purpose is don't beat yourself up if you don't know what it is.
No.
Or if you're struggling to, how do I get there? I don't know the next step. We've been there 100 times.
Yeah.
We'll be there 100 times more. Because the one thing with your life, operating in your purpose is an ongoing thing. Mm-hmm. You take a step and you'll be a while, you'll be like, oh, this is it. This is my purpose. And if you're a person that has true drive in your life, where you want to make a difference, you're always going to have a time where you feel unsettled. If you get to a point in your life where you're not unsettled and you're comfortable, you are now not in your purpose.
Tell him about the marriage what he was talking about. If your marriage isn't always... I can't quite remember.
So we used to do marriage counseling and marriage coaching, and this can work in business or anything in your life. And one thing he said about marriage was, you're either moving forward or you're moving backwards. Mm-hmm. You are never standing still.
That's good.
And that's the same thing in your life with purpose. Yeah. You're either moving forward or you're moving backwards. you're not standing still. And if you're standing still, and if you're in that point of so comfortable that I'm not changing this, I'm not changing that, I won't do this, I won't do that, you're actually moving backwards.
Yeah,
you don't realize
you
it.
feel like, well, I'm stuck.
You
You're not really stuck.
You think you're coasting.
Yeah.
I make a lot of money. I don't care about making more. Not that money's everything,
Well, no.
but I don't care about, I'm using examples. I don't care about making more money. I don't care about this. I don't want any changes in my job. Leave me alone. Leave my job alone. Let me do the same thing I've done for 100 years.
Yep.
You're stuck, but you're actually going in reverse. You're not moving forward.
You're not moving forward. Yep.
So those are signs. Look for those things in your life. But give yourself some grace.
Yeah.
Cut yourself some slack.
Yeah, you got to.
If you're there today, you're listening to this, you're watching this, and you're saying, that's me.
Yeah.
Find somebody that can help you out,
Yep.
that can help you begin to walk towards your purpose, somebody you trust. Find a life coach, find a strategic advisor, and begin to sit with them and talk these things out so that you can live a life of fulfillment. We're here in this life for this much time.
Yeah.
It's a short period of time. I want to be effective.
Yep.
I want to be fulfilled in what I do. And that's what we're here to hope to give you some steps to do.
That's really good.
Anything else that you want to throw in there when it comes to purpose?
I pretty much tell you what I think when I'm thinking it.
Okay. So as we end, this is our very first episode. So as we end this, what we want to do is every 3 to 4 weeks, we want to do a question and answer episode. We want you to send us your questions.
Yeah.
And we're going to do an episode where we answer those questions
questions.
to the best of our ability pertaining to what we're talking about today.
Yeah, the subject
and in
today
the coming
is,
episodes.
are you operating in your purpose?
The subject today is, are you operating in your purpose? Or how do you know that you're not?
Right.
So if you have questions, what we want you to do is you can shoot us an email. Our email is skyoungconsulting@gmail.com. That's S as in Steve, K as in Kristen, Young, Y-O-U-N-G, @gmail.com. Shoot us your questions. You can get on our Facebook page.
Yeah,
We'll post these there. It's going to be getting there. We're just getting up and running ourselves. So we're just starting to operate in our purpose ourselves. So we'll have a website soon, but you'll be able to get on our Facebook page. You can shoot us a question there. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, just put your question in the comments.
Yeah.
Pertaining to, don't ask me how much snow Northern Maine's going to get next winter.
Way too much.
A question about today's video, the subject in today's video. Shoot us those questions, and about probably for the 4th episode or so, we'll do an episode of question and answer to help you out.
Yep.
So if you'd like to know more about us and what we do as far as life coaching and things, you can also contact us in those same 3 ways and reach out to us, and we'll reach back to you and see if we can help you out in some way. Right. So next time, on the next episode, we're going to talk about barriers to your purpose. So we're going to continue this, and we're going to talk about this next time. So thank you for joining us, and don't forget to send us your questions. See you next time.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast. Our goal is that you have some practical steps that you can implement today at Getting a Life. Don't forget to come back next week as we continue to talk about the subjects that will help you reach your life goals. If you want more information about what we do, you can reach us at skyoungconsulting@gmail.com. That's S as in Steve, K as in Kristen, Young, Y-O-U-N-G, consulting@gmail.com, or our Facebook page, SK Young Consulting. And please share our podcast with your friends. See you next time, and remember, you control your day. Don't let your day control you.